Okay, we're continuing with the 1920s. We're going to be, I'm going to finish up one leftover detail from consumer society and move on into the subject of mass culture. All right, and one or two things I might want. Well, I already told you about the 1920s. If you could travel backward through time, decade by decade, visiting each decade, the 1920s are the last one where you or I would find an America you could relate to. Okay. One more thing on consumer society. We talked about changes in manufacturing processes, advertising, consumer financing. There's one more thing, and that is planned obsolescence. You want your customers to keep coming back. So, if you're like Ford and all your products are identical and you stoutly resist ever changing them at all, the idea that's dominant sense that we keep progressing or moving to better and better things. Ford just didn't grasp that. He thought the Model T was good enough for, if it's good enough for 1980, it's good enough for 1927. Well, planned obsolescence. That's where you continually or regularly introduce new models that are supposed to be updated, maybe improved somehow. And that makes, say you've already got one of these things, but it's outdated because newer models have come along, and maybe they do have extended capabilities, but you're going to be tempted to stop using a product which is still fully functional and go get another one just because it's supposedly outdated. Obsolete. The condition of being obsolete is called obsolescence. That means it's time has passed it by, something new and better has come along. Okay, that's why even almost from the beginning, American car manufacturers assigned their products year models. Every year there's a new model. Ford, I don't know if he did that or not, but his models never changed. That is, he didn't have year models, he just had product names, specifically the Model T, followed by the Model A. No one accused him of knowing the alphabet, I suppose. Anyway, just because your car is outdated by 2 or 3 or 4 year models doesn't mean it won't get you where you're going. You just have to keep up because something like a car, the new products, these, as I say, are the trophies establishing your claim on being up to date. One other aspect of planned obsolescence, alleged, proven, I don't know, and that is that manufacturers deliberately under-engineered their products. They designed them so that they would wear out, really actually wear out sooner than they might have otherwise. They could have built cars, the accusation went, that would just last and last and last. I don't think they could have. But they wear out, at which point you're going back to the store to get another one. Either way. Now, mass culture. Next topic. Next general topic. This surrounds us. We've been involved submerged in mass culture for a century or more now, so it's impossible to imagine the world without it. But what is, I'll put it in the present tense, what is mass culture? Mass culture is when very large numbers of people share identical, if not simultaneous, cultural experiences. I'll repeat that. There are, maybe 3 or 4 things over the course of an academic year that I repeat so people can get it down exactly. Mass culture is when very large audiences share identical, if not simultaneous, cultural experiences. In a face-to-face class, I would ask anybody who'd ever been to New York City and seen a Broadway play in person to raise their hand, and usually 1 or 2 or 3 people, and talk about it a little bit. How many people do you think were in that theater? They don't know. It's going to be no more than the low 4 figures. Is that mass culture? We'll really know. That's not a large audience. Plus, if you've ever been around plays or anything like that were performed more than once, no two performances are ever completely identical, are they? They're close enough that the kind of mass culture we had before 20th century mass culture um, involved literature and drama. All right, most literate people had read the same novels. They were familiar with the same plays, the same poetry. That's a kind of national culture when the culture meant literature and theater, maybe music, that umbrellas over assorted local subcultures. Okay, so the difference between seeing a play and real mass culture would be this. Um, People used to worry a lot about whether the younger people were just spending their whole lives zombied out in front of the TV. I was a high school teacher back in the 80s, and I knew better than that. They weren't watching anywhere near as much TV as they thought. And now, even with hundreds of channels of nothing to watch, we don't, do that. I used to follow several network dramas. I was a CSI junkie. I really don't do that anymore. Once in a while, there might be something that gets my interest. But you're watching a first run TV show. How many other people are watching that at the exact same moment? Tens of millions. If it's like the series finale of a really popular show, you'd be part of an extremely large, possibly global audience. So there's the simultaneous aspect. Also identical, you're all watching the same show. Plus, the more popular ones are going to be put out later, that whatever it is, season 3 on DVD. And in future times, even perhaps future centuries, antiquarians will be able to watch those things and they will look and sound exactly the way they do now, if not better. Okay? My era of paying attention to popular music ran up about 10 years or 11. It's been a while back, mid 60s to mid 70s. And incidentally, whoever you are, whenever you live your life, whatever's coming out of those speakers when you're about 14 or 15 or 16 years old, that's going to be the soundtrack of your life, apart from any intrinsic quality that the music itself might have. And if you want to make an enemy, you just talk down somebody's music. You got that? Okay. But it sounds better than it did. It sounds better than it did. Okay. So that's an idea of mass culture. Watching a motion picture, that's mass culture. It's not necessarily simultaneous, but vast numbers of people are going to see that exact same motion picture. Now, 1920s is when mass culture hits it big. It actually didn't just pop onto the stage in just that decade, but uh, let's just say we use a hackneyed phrase, that's when it hit the big time. There are three technologies that drove this that had not existed before. In order in which they came along, we have motion pictures, we have the recorded music industry, the recording industry, and we have commercial radio broadcasting. Okay? The first two had histories that preceded the 1920s. Motion pictures, to put that in perspective, still photography of one form or another dates from about the 1840s. It was very primitive, but it hadn't existed before. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we could make photographic images appear to move? Oh, that was wizardry. But some experimenters got to work on it. By the 1870s, they're there. They have very crude early motion picture cameras, which basically they're using some form of film by this time, and it's fast enough that you can have a long strip of film on a reel, and you're exposing a series of still images, each a little different from the last. If you could project them, the image will appear to move. You knew that. So anyway, Thomas Edison's invention factory weighed in. By the way, Edison invented the incandescent light bulb and maybe one or two other things, but he had a research laboratory with a bunch of other inventors that he'd hired, and he took personal credit for inventions his fingerprints really were not on. Just had to get that little dig in. Um, by the 1890s, I believe Edison has patented a motion picture camera. Uh, there were others out there, and his people didn't actually add anything new. It was just kind of put together from advances that other experimenters had made. By the 1890s, we're seeing moving photographs exhibited for profit. And I've seen these things. They're way before my time, but probably the earliest example of this would be like a carnival attraction or something like that, a sideshow. Stick a coin in the slot of this thing. It sort of stands up and it's got this thing you look into, and you turn a crank. And it's got a series of images, series of photographs that go by quickly, and it looks like it's moving. All it took to keep people lined up waiting to do that was novelty. It was new. It was amazing photographs that actually move. We capture movement. Wow. uh, so we move on into the 20th century, and they're starting to make movies. They're very short, one reel, maybe two, just a few minutes. And you set up your camera on a big old tripod and turn the crank to expose the film. It doesn't even have a spring on it. And you're just catching whatever's out there. People walking down the street, carriage goes by. You're hoping that a fight will break out or just something to make it interesting. But the idea of staging scenes with actors, that's just not quite there yet. Um, or, President Roosevelt making a speech when he's gesticulating like he did, you can't hear him. Um, but that comes along. The first motion picture with a plot that we know of was a Western, of course, entitled The Great Train Robbery. And it was filmed and released, I guess you would say, in 1903. It's 12 minutes long. I posted it, either the whole thing or most of it, on this week's Canvas site. I say clip from because I always thought it was 30 minutes long. Turns out it's more like 12. But it's got actors, it's got a plot. Starts out in the train station. The bandits come in. They tie up the clerk. Train comes in. They jump on the train. Train goes down the track. Steal the gold. Jump off the train. Jump on the horses. Horse chase. Shoot out. All in 12 minutes. AMC showed it one time. I was asleep by the time it was over. But it had a plot. Wow, you've added something. So after that, motion pictures had to have plots. The first Nickelodeon opened in something like I'm going to have to check that. 1905. I called it a Nickelodeon because it cost 5 cents to get in. These are the first movie theaters. Because at that time, it's possible to project the image on a screen. First Nickelodeons probably are going to be unused retail space. You put heavy curtains over the windows to make it more or less dark. You got a projector at one end, a screen on the other, and some folding chairs in between. And if you can afford it or find somebody, hire somebody just to improvise music on a rinky-dink piano because, the movie doesn't have sound. And so these things proliferated rapidly. In 3 years, there's 8,000 of them across the country, making sure. And they're pulling in around 25 million viewers a week. Hollywood would be satisfied with that now, I think. It's not really a cultural phenomenon yet. It's going to be. All right. Around 1911 or 12, the movie production industry moved from the East Coast to the West. Southern California, area near Los Angeles called Hollywood, but that general area offers you pretty dependable 300 days of sunshine a year. And since you don't really have artificial lighting, that's a good place to shoot movies.